you only saw the headlines this week, you might think AI is everywhere and nowhere at the same time, in trillion-dollar government plans, in your glasses, even in the price of your next phone. I'm Aiden, and this is AI Weekly Digest.
And I'm Arya. Over the next few minutes, we will connect the dots. Why countries are starting to treat AI like a new power grid, why people are suddenly pushing back against low-quality AI content, and how all of this quietly lands in your daily life.
Let's start at the very top of the stack, where governments and investors are trying to buy themselves a future. Early this week, Japan basically said they are not watching the AI race from the sidelines. Tokyo is preparing a package worth roughly 1 trillion yen, not for shiny apps or chatbots, but for the boring foundation layer, chips, data centers, and industrial AI projects. In simple terms, they are funding AI factories.
Once you start looking for AI factories, you see them everywhere. SoftBank is racing to deliver a multi-billion-dollar commitment to OpenAI. OpenAI is in talks with Amazon about another huge investment in exchange for using its in-house chips. This is not startup money anymore. It is the level of small countries.
Hardware giants are repositioning as well. NVIDIA and Intel just received antitrust clearance in the United States for a key data center deal. At the same time, NVIDIA is pushing open source models to stay the default choice for builders. Google is reportedly teaming up with Meta to erode NVIDIA's software advantage. Everyone wants to own the factory floor of AI.
China is not sitting still either. Reports describe something close to a Manhattan project for AI chips, with suppliers trying to become the key backbone of Beijing's hardware push. If 2023 was the year of the models, 2025 is clearly turning into the year of infrastructure.
And every boom eventually hits friction. CoreWeave, one of the hottest AI cloud providers, just lost around $33 billion in market value in about 6 weeks. Construction delays, rising debt, and aggressive short sellers pushed the stock down. Demand for compute is real, but the market has started to ask an uncomfortable question. Can you actually build everything you promised in time?
That is not the only signal. Researchers now say that memory chips are flowing into AI data centers faster than manufacturers can produce them for consumer devices. The simple result is a forecast that in 2026, the average smartphone price may rise by almost 7% while shipments decline. The AI race that looked like it lived in the cloud is starting to show up at the cash register.
So the money story of the week is simple. AI is no longer just a product you use. It is becoming infrastructure that countries depend on. And whenever something turns into infrastructure, the next chapter is always the same: rules and backlash.
Let's talk about that backlash. In the United States, lawmakers moved to tighten control over Chinese AI companies. In New York, the governor reached a deal on new state-level AI rules. Geopolitics and regulation are wrapping themselves around the AI stack from the top down.
In the creative world, artists in the United Kingdom staged a small revolt. The government floated an opt-out model where companies could scrape everyone's work for training unless creators explicitly said no. After a wave of criticism and consultations in which the vast majority opposed it, the plan collapsed. The new direction is toward opt-in licensing and real negotiations over training data.
At the same time, Adobe is facing a proposed class action over how it trained its models on authors' work. Courts are being asked a very simple question that has enormous consequences. Is training on my content free, or is it something you have to license and pay for?
Culture added its own verdict. Merriam-Webster picked slop as the 2025 word of the year, a word people now use for low-effort, fake, or generic AI content flooding feeds. Instead of celebrating AI, the culture picked a word that basically means junk you swipe away.
Inside the labs, things are not clean either. Reporting describes how internal drama and shifting priorities inside OpenAI are starting to bleed into the perceived reliability of ChatGPT. At the same time, investigations show how big tech companies are quietly pushing parts of the risk onto partners and contractors, so responsibility is spread across the supply chain.
And if that still feels far away from daily life, look at hiring. A Japanese pharmaceutical company discovered that generative AI had turned all graduate resumes into the same polished, generic template. Their response was to scrap resume screening completely and go back to real conversations with candidates.
Put together, this week sounds like the world telling AI, "We will let you grow, but not on autopilot." Governments, artists, courts, and regular users are all drawing lines at the same time. And while the rules are being argued about, AI is already quietly moving into everyday products.
Let's move down to that level, the things you wear and use. One of the most interesting launches this week was in assistive tech. A company called XRAI introduced AR glasses that look like normal frames but run live subtitles for conversations in more than 300 languages. They work for about 8 hours on a charge, and the case stretches that over multiple days. For people with hearing loss, that is not a gadget. It is a portable accessibility device powered by AI.
Meta chose a different angle. Its latest update for smart glasses adds conversation focus. The glasses listen to the full room, then use AI to boost only the person you are talking to and dampen the rest of the noise. On top of that, there is a neat Spotify visual experience. It is convenient, but you also have to ask how you feel about wearable microphones constantly analyzing everything around you.
Google gave everyone a reminder that AI magic rarely stays free forever. After the Gemini upgrade, users noticed that a basic feature in smart speakers, continued conversation, now seems tied to a paid tier. That is the feature that lets you talk without repeating the wake phrase every time. It is one of the first clear cases where an older free feature gets quietly moved behind a subscription in the name of AI.
Music is shifting as well. Platforms like Suno are turning the phrase "anyone can sing now" into a literal product. You hum or mumble a melody into your phone, and the model returns a studio-style vocal track. Its studio tools feel like a full AI music workstation, and the new remixing features allow other users to respin your song with one click.
Back to work and careers. The Japanese resume story is a small preview of a larger shift. As AI floods the world with perfect generic text, the value slowly moves back to live conversation, portfolios, code, and real-time tests. Ironically, AI killed boring resumes and now forces companies to actually talk to humans again.
So what does this week really tell us about where AI is heading?
First, AI has clearly crossed the line into infrastructure. National plans measured in trillions of yen, tens of billions in cloud spending, and even rising phone prices all point in the same direction. Compute is becoming the new strategic resource and, in some ways, a new kind of rent that everyone pays through higher prices.
Second, the honeymoon phase is over. From UK artists and lawsuits around training data to slop as word of the year, society is pushing back against the idea that AI can simply absorb all content and flood every feed with generated output.
Third, AI is wiring itself into your senses and routines. It lives in your glasses, your speakers, your music apps, and your job search. Some of it feels magical, some of it feels uncomfortable, and a lot of the outcome will depend on the rules and norms we set right now.
If you are an investor, a builder, or just a curious viewer, keep 3 questions in focus. Who owns the infrastructure? Who owns the data? And who controls the interface you use when you talk to AI?
We will be here every week to connect those dots.
You have been watching AI Weekly Digest. Do not forget to subscribe and tell us in the comments which story came closest to your own life this week.
See you next time.